clear thinking gets stronger when your explanations get simpler. Richard Feynman built his thinking around this rule. You begin to notice a basic problem in learning and thinking. You can repeat many words and still not know what they mean. You can speak in long sentences and still be unclear. Simple explanation fixes this, because it forces you to make the idea clean. Feynman explained that clarity is not a style choice. It is proof of understanding. If your idea is real, you can say it in simple words. If your idea is weak, you will hide behind complex language. Research on cognitive clarity and processing fluency supports this. The mind checks simple ideas faster. It also spots errors faster when the words are clear. Simple explanations are the foundation of strong thinking. Real understanding shows up in plain language. Feynman explained that knowing is not the same as repeating. You can repeat a textbook line and still not understand the idea. The test is simple. Try to explain the idea as if you were teaching a smart beginner. If you can do it with simple words, you likely understand it. If you cannot, your understanding has gaps. You begin to see why this test works. Simple explanation removes hiding places. You cannot lean on big terms. You cannot skip steps. You must name the parts and connect them. The moment you get stuck, the gap becomes visible. Learning science supports this with the idea of the illusion of understanding. You can feel like you understand because the words look familiar. But when you try to explain, the feeling fails and the truth appears. Feynman used explanation as a daily tool, not a one-time trick. Understanding shows itself through simple explanation. Complexity often hides confusion. You begin to notice how easy it is to sound smart while staying unclear. A long word can cover a missing step. A complex sentence can hide a weak link. Jargon can create a feeling of knowledge without real meaning. Feynman avoided this because he cared about truth, not appearance. He explained that clear thinking needs clean parts and clean links. When language gets heavy, it increases mental load. The mind has to fight the words instead of checking the idea. Cognitive load theory supports this. Working memory is limited. When you add extra language, you use that limited space. This makes it harder to test the idea and easier to miss errors. You begin to see a strong rule. If an explanation becomes long without becoming clearer, it is not helping. It is hiding. Feynman used simplicity to protect accuracy and understanding. Complexity hides weak understanding. Clear explanation starts with clear parts. You begin to see that many ideas feel hard because they are packed together. Several claims sit in one sentence. Several steps sit in one jump. This creates confusion and weak memory. Feynman broke ideas into small parts before explaining them. He would separate the main claim from supporting points. He would isolate one step at a time. He would define key terms in simple words. Then he would connect the parts in a clean order. This is reduction in problem solving. It is not about making things smaller for fun. It is about making them testable. A small part can be checked. A small part can be explained. A small part can be corrected. You begin to see why this creates strength. When each part is clear, the whole becomes clear. When one part is wrong, you can fix it without breaking everything. Feynman trusted step-by-step clarity more than fast talk. Small parts create clear explanations. Plain words are a thinking test. You begin to notice a simple difference between sounding correct and being clear. When you use plain words, you must choose meaning over style. You must state what the thing is and what it does. You must avoid hiding behind labels. Feynman used simple words because they forced honesty. If he could not explain an idea without special terms, he treated that as a warning sign. He would go back and rebuild the idea. He would remove the unclear parts. He would try again until the explanation held. Language and cognition research supports this. Words shape how you process ideas. When language is too compressed, you may keep the label but lose the mechanism. Plain words keep the mechanism visible. You begin to see a practical method. Take any concept you are learning. Replace every hard term with a simple phrase. If the idea falls apart, your understanding is not finished. Feynman treated plain language as a tool for truth. Plain words expose real understanding. A strong explanation shows cause and effect. You begin to see that many weak explanations are only descriptions. They tell you what happened, but not why it happened. They do not tell you what would change the result. That is not enough for clear thinking. Feynman explained ideas through cause and effect because it makes the explanation testable. If you claim one thing causes another, you can check it. If you change the cause, the result should change. If the result changes without the cause, the model may be wrong. Causal reasoning in cognition supports this. People understand better when they can track what leads to what. This also improves memory because the brain stores links, not just facts. You begin to see how to build this in your own explanations. Start with the main outcome, then list the causes, then explain the link in simple steps, then state what would happen if one cause is removed. Feynman valued explanations that can predict and can be checked. Cause and effect strengthen explanations. Teaching yourself is a fast way to find gaps. Feynman taught ideas to himself because it forced structure. When you teach, you cannot rely on the book to hold the logic. You must create the logic in your own mind. You begin to see what happens when you try to teach. At first, the explanation may sound rough. Then you hit a place where you cannot continue. That is the gap. The gap is not a failure. It is a clear target. You go back to the source, fix that one part, then teach again. The learning beaching effect supports this. Teaching increases effort in a useful way. It also forces you to organize ideas in a clean order. This strengthens understanding and memory. You begin to see a simple practice. After studying, close the notes. Explain the idea out loud or on paper in plain words. Mark the parts that feel weak, then correct only those parts. Feynman used teaching as a tool for accuracy. Teaching reveals gaps in thinking. Clarity improves when you remove noise. You begin to notice that many explanations fail because they include too much. Extra details crowd the main point. Side facts distract. Long examples hide the core rule. The listener gets tired and the thinker gets lost. Feynman removed details that did not change the meaning. He focused on what drives the result. He kept the main idea visible at every step. Then he added details only after the core was stable. Selective attention research supports this. Attention is limited. If you spread it across too many points, the brain cannot hold the thread. When you highlight the key parts, understanding becomes easier and recall becomes stronger. You begin to see a practical habit. After you write an explanation, cut it down. Remove anything that does not support the main claim. Remove anything that repeats without adding meaning. Keep the structure, keep the causes, and keep the key steps. Feynman treated simplicity as respect for truth. Removing noise improves clarity. Simple explanations build mental models. Feynman did not just want words that sounded clear. He wanted a working model in the mind. A model is a set of parts and links that can run in your head. It lets you predict outcomes and check errors. You begin to see why explanation creates models. When you explain, you choose the key parts. You connect them. You show cause and effect. You define limits. That is exactly what a model is. If the explanation is clear, the model becomes clear. Mental model theory supports this. People learn best when they build internal maps of how a system works. These maps help you apply knowledge in new situations. They also help you notice when something does not fit. Feynman used simple explanations to create models that could travel across problems. He could use the same core model in many cases. That is why his thinking stayed strong. You begin to see the goal. The goal is not to recite. The goal is to run the idea in your mind. Clear explanations build strong mental models. Clear explanation improves through correction, not through copying. You begin to see that one explanation is rarely perfect. The first version often has missing steps. It may rely on a term you did not define. It may jump over a key link. Feynman improved explanations by repeating them with correction. This is not memorization. It is refinement. You explain. You notice what is unclear. You return to the source. You fix the weak point. Then you explain again in simpler words. Each cycle removes confusion. Each cycle strengthens the model. Error correction in learning science supports this. Skills improve when you get feedback and adjust. Explanation creates feedback because it shows what you can and cannot produce. The gap becomes a clear signal. You begin to see how to use this daily. Keep your explanations short. Repeat them after small gaps. Each time, aim to make the explanation clearer and simpler without losing meaning. Keep the cause-end effect chain clean. Feynman trusted repeated correction more than raw talent. Repetition refines understanding. A strong mind is built through daily clarity practice. Feynman used simple explanations every day. He did not rely on mood. He did not rely on motivation. He relied on method. He used plain words. He broke ideas into parts. He built cause and effect. He taught himself. He removed noise. He repeated and corrected